I haven't done a TBR video before. By the time this goes up, we'll be well into March, but right now it's still the first week, so that's what matters to me. I have a huge list of books that I want to get read in the coming month or 2 or 3 or life. My TBR list is just ever growing. I'm at the library every day, so I'm seeing books that I want to read every day, all day. And I bring them home. They live at my house for a couple weeks. I take them back to work, or I just keep them. Or we withdraw books or we get donations and I bring them home and they have a home with me until I finally get the time to read them. The first book on my TBR list it's kind of a stretch because I'm actually already reading it and I'm already almost halfway or more than halfway through with it. It is a short story that I won a link for the Audible download of it on Twitter from the author, The Gospel of Sheba. It's by Lindsay Faye. Lindsay Faye is one of the Baker Street Babes, who are an all-female podcast about Sherlock Holmes, everything in the Sherlock Holmes universe, scholarship and fandom and everything in between. And they're wonderful and brilliant, and Lindsay Faye is also a really talented writer. She wrote Dust and Shadow, which is a Sherlock Holmes Jack the Ripper story, and then she has also written Gods of Gotham, which is nominated for Best Novel for an Edgar Award, and the sequel, Seven for a Secret, which are great historical mysteries set in New York City in the dawn of the New York Police Department. But Gospel of Sheba is a short story featuring a sub-librarian named Lomax. Yeah, librarians. I need anything about librarians. And this librarian works in London in 1902, and he happens to know John Watson, so John Watson makes an appearance in the story. I was really excited to see that. But he is approached by a man who is researching the occult, and he wants to find out more about the occult, in particular this information about this Gospel of Sheba that they just found in relation to spells and things written by King Solomon, because he's in a secret society that studies King Solomon and his wisdom and his, I guess, magical occultish ways. It's really, really great. It's all told through journal entries from Lomax, letters from his wife, who's an opera singer who's traveling, and stuff with his daughter as well, or their young daughter. And she just announced that Lomax will be reappearing in another story, but not a lot of information has been released about that. So very exciting. I'm loving it so far, and you should get your hands on it as soon as possible. Next on my TBR is one that's been here for a long time, and I'm gonna listen to the audiobook of this one too because I love audiobooks, and I love playaways. If you haven't read a playaway before, you can come check them out from my library. But they are little MP3 players on a lanyard, and you just plug your headphones in and press play and go. They're wonderful, especially if you're doing a lot of chores around the house, or, you know, sitting in your car or whatever. But this one is Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers. There was an English teacher at my high school whose last name was Lefevers, and there was a rumor, like she had twins, and the rumor was that she named one of them Scarlet. I don't know if that's true, because I didn't have her, and I don't know if she did, but Scarlet Lefevers. Why would she name? Either it's perfect or it's the worst. I can't decide. I've been meaning to read Grave Mercy forever, and I finally was like, the only time I'm going to get around to reading it is if I'm listening to it, obviously, because I've been able to read it for a while and I haven't gotten around to it. So it's about a 17-year-old girl named Ismay. To get out of a loveless arranged marriage, she runs to this sanctuary of this convent, and in the convent she finds out that she's been blessed by the god of death himself, and she has to decide if she wants to train to become an assassin, because who doesn't love lady assassins? So Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevers. Speaking of lady assassins, we just withdrew an extra copy of Throne of Glass, and people have been bugging me to read Throne of Glass for ages, and I've been meaning to read Throne of Glass for ages. I saw Sarah J. Maas speak at a teen book festival in Austin last year, and she was precious. Mostly what made me know that I needed to read this book was that she was fangirling about sitting next to one of her favorite authors, Garth Nix. They were asking people about who inspired them to write the characters that they write when they were young. And she like turned and pointed to him. It was like, he inspired me. And I love Garth Nix. But yes, Throne of Glass is all over YouTube. I don't need to tell you what it's about. Female assassin. All right, it looks like Charlie's gonna join us for this book. The next book is Caminar by Skyla Brown. This is set in 1981 in Guatemala. It's all told in verse, so it's all poems, and it's about a young boy who communist rebels are taking over, and there's a civil war in Guatemala, and his mom tells him to run, and so he tries to get to his abuela's house, and I believe it's all going to be about like a coming of age, deciding what to do with war and how you're gonna fall in the lines there. I just read The Crossover, which won the Newbery this year, and that's all poetry as well. And then I just stumbled upon this one. It's a gorgeous cover, and it just struck me that so quickly, like back to back, I found 2 books told in poetry about young men of color, and it made me like, I don't know, wonder if that's a trend that's happening or if I'm just projecting. It looks great, and I'll probably cry a lot. Hashtag crying is a thing. Hashtag I do a lot of. Sorry to end that with a preposition. Okay, so Neil Gaiman just came out with a new book. Trigger warning. So full disclosure, I do not like short stories. I don't know exactly what it is about them. While I'm reading a short story, I like it. I think it's that they're finished too fast, and they just leave me hanging, and I want more. You know, you turn the page and then there's an entirely new story, entirely new characters to get to know, entirely new setting, and it always jars me. I know that the easy answer is just read one at a time and put it away when you're done, and I don't know how to do that. It's like just eating one Girl Scout cookie. No, you have to eat a whole row, and then there are other rows to eat, and you have to eat all of them, because those caramel delights aren't going to eat themselves. Where I'm from, we call them caramel delights. Like a couple miles away, they call them smos. You can fight about it later. It's okay. Neil Gaiman, who is my everything. Neil Gaiman's new short story collection is called Trigger Warning, Short Fictions and Disturbances. I've already read one of them because it was a graphic novel. The Truth is a Cave in the Black Mountains, which is creepy, as you know, you come to expect from Neil Gaiman. One of the few authors that I will actually read short stories from and like not let that issue get in the way is Neil Gaiman. The other one is Ray Bradbury. Yeah, not even Barbara Kingsolver gets a pass, and she gets a pass with everything else. I will read Neil Gaiman's short stories, though they are creepy. They're so creepy. They're so good. Yes. Wait. Yes. Yes. Okay, sorry. I was just reading on the inside cover because I didn't even look at what everything was in here. I just brought it home because it has Neil Gaiman's name on it, obviously. One of the short stories is about Shadow from American Gods, and I'm so excited. I love it when Shadow shows up. I love that Neil Gaiman can do that, and I think that helps with how I like his short stories, because some of them do build on the universes that he's made in other places. And it doesn't hurt that he usually reads his own audiobooks. And I love his voice. So that was Trigger Warning. Next is another book that's all over BookTube. I'm not even going to go into much about it because you can watch so many other people talk about it more eloquently than I will, because I haven't read it yet and they have. That's A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab is one of the authors in our March Madness, so you should go back and watch my last video and then in the comments vote. And hopefully we'll have a new video out soon and you can vote for the next round. Yeah, she's up against Maureen Johnson though, so I feel like that's tough competition. So yeah, Darker Shade of Magic. There's magic, there are alternate universes, there are different Londons. And I love the one London, so I would definitely take more. I'm really psyched about this one. And I've got to finish it because Kayla wants it after me. So that's an impetus to finish it quickly. Okay, so my last book on my TBR list has a little bit of a backstory to it. I am in a book club, and it is an amazing book club full of many, many wonderful women. And we take turns each week choosing the book, each month choosing the book and hosting book club at our house or at a restaurant or something. So I have unfortunately missed the last couple because I have this like crazy life, I guess. And last week was book club, And I read the book, it was The Transcriptionist, and it was very, very good. I read it in one night, which I hadn't done in a while. And I was really sad to miss it, but I went out of town with my sisters, and even though my best friend was hosting it, I did not make it back in time. So I was sad about that. And then as I was pulling into my driveway, my book club was texting me saying, hey, it's your turn to choose. Choose a long one and not a romance, because last time I chose a romance. Susanna Kearsley is amazing, and The Winter Sea was so good, and you guys are cynical. They gave me a proposed date for the book club that I was gonna host, and it was at the end of my conference week and the day after a wedding, and I said, please don't make me do it that day. I'm gonna go be in an introverted coma somewhere. So I said, if we can move it to an even later date than that, I will choose, and I said, a large book. And they said, okay, we're excited, we're doing that book. And I was like, oh no, I was just kidding. Because the book that I said that we should read was Infinite Jest, which is 1,079 pages, which I've been wanting to read. And I love David Foster Wallace's essays. I don't know why essays do not count under the short story thing, but they don't. And so we're gonna read Infinite Jest. I know that it's good, and I know that it's funny. It's not a romance, you guys. But yeah, this is about consumer culture. By turns hilarious, appalling, moving, subtle, and wise. So there you have it. These are my TBRs for March, April, May, and beyond. I have until May. So I've got it. It's good. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, if you think I should read one before another, if you are laughing at me because I'm going to read Infinite Jest, or if you love Infinite Jest, or if you love David Foster Wallace's Run on Sentences, because that's what I really like about him. Okay, that's it for me. I'll see you next time. Do all those nice things you can do on YouTube. I said it right this time. You can like this video, you can comment, you can subscribe. And you can follow me on Twitter at FriendsWithYA, and you can follow me on Tumblr at Reading Rainbow Hair. That's it, I'm out. Goodbye.